Hello, everybody. It is Michelle with Moksha Grace Coaching, and I am coming to you today on my own. Krista had some other things she had to take care of, and I have a hot topic that I wanted to go over today, and I am going to go this alone because I have a lot to say today. So, this is moment of presence, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to bring ourselves into a moment of presence while we wait for a few people to join us. So, as we do, I'm going to ask you to take some deep breaths. There has been a lot going on, and as you can tell by the title of today's show, Where the F Did Empathy Go? Why don't we think about what exactly that means? Why is it no longer cool to be human? Why is it better to have a hive mind than to be a positive part of humanity and the environment that you're in? So, this is what I want you to contemplate as we take some deep breaths. I have the comments up today. I want engagement. I want to hear your thoughts. I will say that I expect everyone to be respectful. We are not talking politics here. We are talking about humans behaving like humans, not humans behaving badly. So let's take a nice, calming, deep breath and bring that in. And think about how wonderful humanity would be. Just nice exhale out. If we could all find a way to celebrate the things that really matter, the goodness in this world, and bring up some of those examples of goodness that you've seen in your own world. Whether it was a butterfly that flew by you, a bird that sang, not a lot of traffic on your way to work, bring that in today. Take a deep breath. And hold it, and then a nice exhale. And then I want you to bring in just a happy memory, a happy place that you go to when you want to feel nice and calm. Bring that in. And then just exhale that slowly out. Thank you. Thank you for joining me for that. If you're here, do me a favor and say hi. Let's make sure that the comments are working, that everyone can see each other's comments. And again, the rules of today. 1, this isn't about lecturing. That's not what this is. I may get a little bit on my soapbox because I'm passionate about this topic, and I'll tell you why. But we are going to be respectful. And this is coming from a place of love. What sparked this topic of where the F did empathy go was watching something that was on TV the other night, and I'm sure most of you will know exactly what it was that I was watching. And there were Americans, there were humans that were being celebrated on TV, celebrated, and it was like little wishes being granted to them, or a moment of silence given to them because they had pain in their life, they suffered, or celebrating the fact that their loved one had been brought back to them. Moments of celebration. And half of the room celebrated, and the other half sat there on their phones. Now, again, this isn't political. This is about human beings. If there is something going on and you happen to be observing it and you see somebody being celebrated, if you cannot take a moment to smile, to glance over, even giving yourself your own moment to be with those people celebrating in that moment, a little bit of happiness, a little bit of gratitude for their happiness. There's something wrong in the world when that happens, especially in the environment that it happened in the other night, because it was a large group of people that allegedly represent another group of people. So let's talk about just some definitions. Yes, soapbox. Uh, um, Number one, and I looked up some definitions. And if you don't agree with my definitions, please tell me your definition in the comments. Being human. Being human means directing ourselves with our own conscious thoughts and rationale, understanding ourselves and the world we live in. Now, I can't understand everything that's going on with everybody else because I'm not them. I'm Michelle. And this is part of why I even created Moksha Grace. Why I have became a coach is because I was a part of a situation where there was groupthink and hive mind. And we're going to go over that in a minute. And what it does to you as a human being when you feel like you have to conform, whether it's because of peer pressure, whether it's because you feel like you could lose your job, whether you feel you'll be kicked out of your group. May happen with kids in high school. Look at the movie Mean Girls. Kind of was a little reminiscent of that the other night when I saw a bunch of people wearing pink, but we won't get into that. Let's talk about another piece of being human and not political, but love of something, right? Love of, and in this situation, love of country. Love of country, and I'm not talking about patriotism. I'm talking about love of your country. And you're going to see how I'm going to tie all of this back to us and our emotional liberation. Love of country, according to the New York Times, is love of country is to seek its betterment. So again, I go back to examples of people celebrating, people being honored, people showing sympathy or empathy for other people. That's it. Being human, love of country. Love of yourself has to come first. Because remember, being human, right? Being human is directing ourselves with our own conscious thoughts and rationale, not being the conforming type because it's the cool thing to do, or because we're being told to do it, or because we're doing it out of fear. The only way to do right by yourself, for yourself, is to act in love. And a lot of what I saw the other night was not out of love as people ignored people being celebrated. And what really got me was when the 13-year-old little boy that is a cancer survivor. And let me make this very clear. I can speak to this because I am a mom of a cancer survivor, because my family went through this. And when I saw the disrespect that happened the other night, and I'm trying to smile so that way I remind myself that I'm not reacting, I am responding to this situation. But I do have a passionate way of expressing myself about it. So, my daughter kicked cancer's ass. That little boy kicked cancer's ass, and he may still be dealing with the treatments. He's definitely dealing with the after effects. When you cannot have empathy for someone that has fought for their life and their family that's had to give up everything to make sure that their child can fight for their life, there is a deep-seated issue going on within that person. If you cannot smile, celebrate, look up from your phone, glance over, and at least observe and pay attention. A lot of the behavior was expected the other night, but that was the one that got me, because that was the one that pointed out who are the humans, the empathetic humans in the room, and who were not. At least not in that moment. And again, we're not talking politics here. If you feel, any of you out there, and I had to do this too. There was a time when I was in corporate where I thought I had to behave a certain way because I was afraid that I was going to get lumped in with a group that might get fired, or that I wouldn't be seen in the same light and be promoted. And I put that first. And I had to learn the hard way that that is not the way the world works when you want peace in your heart. So, what is groupthink? There were totally a small handful of those on one side standing and clapping for sure, but there's no mistaking who was sitting down. Right. And not only were they sitting down, like, okay, fine, sit down. Glance over and smile. What about the woman who lost her husband? The two daughters that were sitting there? What about the young girl who got hit in the head while she was playing sports, and she stood there and you could see she was so nervous and she was so scared? That was a big room full of really, really alleged powerful people. Yet she was there being brave and courageous. And what about the other young woman who was violated and allowed that story to be told so that we could stop those type of violations on the internet? She was there being brave. But yet there were a whole group of people that couldn't be brave enough to fight the groupthink, to fight the hive mind, and just look up and give empathy. So let's look at empathy for a minute, because what exactly is empathy? Because I don't want to think that empathy is pity. That's not what empathy is. Empathy, the action of understanding, being aware of, being sensitive to, and vicariously experiencing the feelings, thoughts, and experience of another. That's it. That's it. Put down your flippin' phone, turn, and just make eye contact. Let someone know that you get it. And we can use any example. It doesn't have to be just the one the other night, but the one the other night was very blatant. And it was broadcasted for all to see. And so I can't just not use these as examples, because boy, were they out there in front of us. So let's talk about groupthink. Groupthink. It's a phenomenon that occurs when a group of individuals reaches a consensus without, notice that word, without critical reasoning or evaluation of the consequences or alternatives. Groupthink is based on a common desire not to upset the balance of a group of people. But you're not taking into account all of the people, only your little group of people. And again, this extends way more than just the other night, because I'm sure that any of you that are watching, and if you know of anybody that is dealing with this, please send this video to them. Because at the end, I'm going to give you a website that you can go to if they are dealing with this kind of thing, especially in their career, and they're being bullied and harassed, where they can get some help. And they're happy. You can contact me and I will walk you through it, because I had to deal with it. Groupthink is when you put your group above everyone else's. You're more important. And your agenda is more important than other people's feelings. And we can get all technical. And again, that's not what we're doing. We're talking about being human. Being human. And so groupthink takes away what makes you human. It takes away you critically thinking about, does this align with my values? Is this really who I am? Is this really who I want to be? Is this the example that I want to set? Is this how people want to see me? And if you answered no to any of those questions and thinking about a situation that maybe you've been in yourself, I can help you turn that around. But today's not about that. Peer pressure. The Bible says that peer pressure can be positive or negative, and that it's important to stand up for what you believe in. Proverbs 4:14 to 15 warn against getting caught in the way of evildoers. Be mindful. What's the best way to be mindful of whether you're getting sucked into a situation where you're just being part of the bullies or part of a situation that really doesn't reflect your values? How does it feel in your heart? Are you questioning yourself? Do you feel something in the pit of your stomach? Something feel off? Those are all your body telling you, like, warning, warning, this is not the right direction. And I'm going to say that I would hope, I can't assume, but I would hope that there were a lot of people that were feeling sick to their stomach, that they were being pressured and pushed into acting a certain way, because I cannot believe that there might have been that many people in one room that were unfeeling, unempathetic, and just conformed to try to make a point. Because those kids, and this is definitely Mama Bear coming out, those kids are never going to forget, never going to forget that there was a whole group of people that did not support them, that did not even look at them, did not even put their phone down to respect the hardship and the pain that they went through in their lives, that they were being vulnerable and sharing so that we could learn something and that we could have hope and inspiration from that. So, what I witnessed the other night was humans behaving badly, poorly. Hive mind. It's often depicted as an entity that controls individuals by suppressing their consciousness and integrating them into its own collective consciousness. Basically, a monkey on their back, whispering in their ear, just do it. Just do it. It's for the better. It's for the group. It's better for the whole group. Is it? Is it really? Because I don't think it worked out really well. Being human means directing ourselves with our own conscious thoughts and rationale, understanding ourselves and the world we live in. And I'm not talking about understanding the whole entire world, understanding the world you live in, the world I live in. And when we can use our conscious thoughts and our own rationale and be the best version of ourselves, we can impact those around us in a positive way. We can impact them in a negative way too if we're going against ourselves and not being our best self. And I'm sure you've all felt that as well. Please put something in the comments. Let me know if you get this. Put hell yeah. I don't care if you put hell no. You have a right to disagree with me, and that's okay. I still respect you as a human being. But to have empathy, I can understand that maybe there's something that happened to you that you think differently than me. We've all had something that's happened to us that makes us different people. That's what makes us all unique. We wonder why our kids get so sucked into peer pressure and groupthink, and why they make decisions that seem so against the way that we've raised them. The question is, have you raised them? And I'm not judging, but I am putting some questions before you. Has TV raised them more than you have? Have their friends and their teachers raised them more than you have? Who's had the most influence over your kids? We have to be careful of hive mind. We have to be careful of peer pressure. Peer pressure has always been there. Oh, come on. Back in my day, it was, oh, come on, just take a drink. Oh, come on, just do that shot. Oh, come on, let's just skip school. That was a big one. Let's skip school. And yeah, I did that. But I also paid the consequences when my mom found out, when the school called her and let her know that I was not there and that someone had come to pick me up, who was a girlfriend of mine. And yes, we got in trouble. We didn't get a timeout. We actually got in trouble and grounded. But we won't get into parenting right now. The thing is that we have to have values. And I've talked about this before. Values are your backbone. Values are your foundation that you stand upon. A person's principles or standards of behavior, one's judgment of what is important in your life. My values are not going to be the same as your values. We may have similar values, but they're not always going to be the same. One of my values is to always come from love. In everything I do, come from love. When you come from a place of love, you can't do anything wrong. Everything will turn out right because you're doing it for a reason of love for someone else. So I'm going to share with you a definition. Some of you may know I'm from Greek heritage, love the Greek culture. And we have a word. And it's a hard word to define because there is no word in the English language that means the same thing. Imagine that. The Greeks have one word that sums up everything. And yet there's not a word like it in the English dictionary, in the English language. So I'm going to read it to you because it's that important. And this pretty much sums up everything we're talking about today. And it's philoptomo. Philoptomo is one of those powerful words that, like I said, doesn't translate directly into English. At its core, philoptomo is a Greek concept that embodies honor, integrity, selflessness, and an innate drive to do what is right, not because of external pressure. I'll say that again. Not because of external pressure, but because it aligns with one's moral compass. It's the internal code of ethics that compels a person to act with kindness, respect, responsibility towards others. So imagine a person that helps somebody in need. They're not doing it for recognition. They're doing it because their heart tells them it's the right thing to do. Someone who stands up for justice. Someone that stands up for justice, even when it's unpopular. Both of my kids did that in school. And I'm pretty sure that they both got spoken to by a teacher because the teacher didn't understand what they were doing. But they were standing up for what was right. They were standing up for justice. Philoptomo in action, a deep-rooted sense of duty to uphold goodness, even when no one else is watching. How you do one thing is how you do everything. So if you are acting one way behind closed doors and you act another way when you're in front of people, you are not aligned. You are not aligned with who you are. You are not aligned with your values. And when you are and you're being truly authentic to who you are, the world opens up for you. Everything changes. Everything gets brighter. It's amazing. Philoptomo is more than just personal integrity. It's about contributing to the greater good with empathy, courage, and unwavering principles. I think this should go like, this should be like in a human handbook, right? How to be a really good human, contributing to the greater good with empathy, courage, and unwavering principles. I'm not going to say this is easy, because sometimes it is easier just to go along with the crowd. But is it really? Because who is damaged in the long run? You are. Because it hurts your soul that you're going against yourself. That's when we see dis-ease. We see people not feeling right. If this is you right now, if you're not feeling good, every day you wake up and you dread whatever it is that you have to do, or you're asked to fib or do things that are not exactly ethical in your work, or in just choices you have to make, then becoming stronger within yourself, understanding your values, and being strong enough to stick up for yourself, to be your own best advocate. Yeah, it can be scary to leave a comfort zone of being part of the in crowd. But you know what? That in crowd maybe isn't your in crowd anymore. And there's another crowd over here waiting for you. And that's in any walk of life. Philoptomo means thinking of yourself while still holding deep respect for others. In a world dominated by groupthink and division, embracing Philoptomo means thinking for yourself while still holding deep respect for others. That's so important, because it's okay if we all don't think alike. Again, we're not supposed to. No one's saying that. You want to think differently, you believe differently. Okay, cool, fine. But you can still have deep respect for people. You still can have empathy for other people, because we are humans being, or I should say, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. But we get it backwards. And we think being human and following the in crowd and getting sucked into the groupthink and the hive mind is more important. When you switch that, and there will come a day, I promise you, and that's not being threatening at all. I promise you there will come a day where there's going to be a perspective shift. And you're going to say, I'm now on a journey. I'm on a different journey. And the spiritual journey now is more important and is more prioritized for you as you move forward. That's what we're talking about. And you can't force people to jump on a spiritual bandwagon. You have to be ready to jump on that spiritual journey, to jump on that path. And you may be walking alongside, parallel to that path, and you may see it and go, I know one day I'm going to hop on over there, but not ready. Not my time yet. That's okay too. It has to happen in your own time. No one can force you there. But when you do, and you start acting within your own values and your virtues, when you start embracing who you actually are, not who people have told you that you are, not with the beliefs that hold you back, but you actually can embrace and be self-aware. And some of that means accepting that you are not perfect, that you have parts of you maybe that are a little bitchy. Maybe there's parts of you that can be materialistic. Maybe there's parts of you that you don't even like much. And that's okay. It's about unconditionally accepting who you are, understanding that some of those old beliefs and some of those old groupthink and hive mind and all of that has contributed to where you are today. And here is the secret to all of this: there's no judgment and there's no beating yourself up for any of that. Not when you get on the spiritual journey. It's about going, okay, that was me. Came from this belief and that belief. I see that now. I'm going to evolve. I'm going to now grow up and I'm going to change my beliefs because they're not serving me anymore. And they're blocking me from seeing the clear path, whatever that path may be for you. But you have to be ready. I'm not going to say that I have pity for the people the other night. I had to process some judgment. Yeah, I did. I absolutely did. And you may even still hear a little bit of it there. I know that at some point they're going to have to embrace their own spiritual path. And they're going to have to look back on how they acted in that moment when they could have been empathetic, when they could have embraced celebration of another human, when they could have looked into the eyes of those that were being so vulnerable and it were in so much pain. And at some point, they're going to have to face that themselves. But honestly, it's not my job to judge them. It's not your job either. It's none of our jobs. There's a higher power that will handle everything. But it's all a matter of walking our path. And if that's their path, if they're meant to be that version to teach a lesson for someone else, well, then so be it. If you saw something, if you are seeing something in your own environment and you don't like it, there's a reason you're seeing it. The question is, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? We had a situation, a local situation, two horrific situations. One, there was a woman who passed away. I believe it was a car accident. And they set up a memorial for her under a tree. The families and her friends painted these really pretty little rocks and little messages on them. We don't know who did it. Somebody in the community, somebodies in the community, broke the rocks, destroyed the memorial. No one has video, or no one's putting the video out there. There's going to be lessons that have to be learned. And the only way that people learn lessons, unfortunately, is to either be shown a negative situation, turnabout is fair play, karma, if you will. And it hurts that they may have to face some type of pain in order to learn the lesson of the pain that they caused someone else by doing that. But you know what I love that I saw the next day? Everyone in the community, they painted rocks and they recreated the memorial for that family. So seeing the good and focusing on the good, it's a gift. And that was part of what was happening the other night. We were being a gift of things to come together and celebrate and be in gratitude for. Because we may not all be on the same page, but can we at least celebrate that a little boy survived? Can we at least celebrate that a hostage came home to his 98-year-old mother? Can we all celebrate that some bad guys that killed our military was taken in custody? Could we celebrate that together and bring us together just for a moment and just be in gratitude for just that moment, a little bit of connection? Because when we all can come together on the things that matter, on the things that we do agree upon, being human, being thankful, coming from a place of love, we're going to be able to heal not just ourselves, not just our group, but also as a nation. But if we keep this divide and we keep picking out why we're so different and only talking about that instead of celebrating how we can come together and be the same and celebrate the good, I know that I'm going to keep celebrating. I know I'm going to keep being grateful. My version of life is going to be different because I'm focusing on the good. And what I want to teach other people is the same thing, because we can make more of a difference together focusing on the good than we can when we focus on the bad. And we can think about this in a very large view, right, of the world. But we all can't solve all of the issues of the world. But if we can solve those little issues in our community, like rebuilding a memorial for someone who was hurting so much because theirs was destroyed, celebrating a little boy that survived, a little girl that survived, a family that lost their loved ones, but the whole community came to help. When we can be empathetic together, compassionate together, and we can come from that place of love. Okay, yeah, you guys can tease me and say kumbaya, whatever. I don't care. It's fine. If any of this has just made you feel just a little something, a little movement, a shift in perspective of looking for the things in life that matter, that are good in your life, then that's all I wanted to do today. Let's be better humans. Let's remember that we are all spiritually connected, no matter what religion. We talked about this the other day when I had James Wood on, and we talked about how we're all saying the same thing. We're all connected. And so when we hurt someone else, we're hurt. When we hurt ourselves, we're hurting someone else. When we hurt someone else, we're hurting ourselves. But when we're celebrating and we're in gratitude with each other, with ourselves, we're impacting and inspiring everybody else. And if you cannot do it alone, if you don't know how to flip over to that parallel path that you want to be on, then yeah, let me help you. Because I know how to jump over. Because I've had to do it. And it's not always perfect. So thank you for being here. Thank you for hearing me. Thank you for sharing this out, because this was a really, really, really important conversation that I wanted to have today. And so I appreciate you listening. And I look forward to seeing you next week. If you want to learn more about me, you can go to mokshagrace.com and you can book a call. We can have a conversation. You can join Odonata community and have some group coaching. I'm sure it'll be a lively conversation tonight. There's lots of ways that we can work together. But sometimes when we need help, that we can't see all of it, we need a perspective shift. Sometimes we need some guidance on that. And that's okay. Strong people ask for help. So stop doing what you've always been doing if you're not liking your results. Do something different. Every day can be a good day or a bad day. You get to make the choice. So choose wisely. And I will see you next week.